You're tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly show for video games, movies, TV shows, comics, tech news, and more. Now your hosts, Cody Pennick, Samantha Cross, Sam Dunham, and Josh Harrison.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the pop and geek culture show that has two boys, one mic. I'm Cody, I'm boy number one.
I'm Sam, and I have my own mic because I'm very special.
And I'm Josh. I get to share. I'm boy 1.5.
I'm enjoying the energy we are putting out in this show this week. Thank you all for tuning in. We have a bunch of news to go over, but first let's talk about some things we have been checking out.
Check it out!
You must recover all the energy immediately, Mega Man.
Whoa, Mega Man.
Still waiting for that cease and desist from Tim and Eric.
It's coming
days.
eventually. One of these days. Someday, one of them will hear our show, and we'll know we've made it by that cease and desist we're going to get.
Yeah, we'll know we've made it when we can't play Steve Brule clips anymore.
You know, I kind of feel like when we're talking into this mic together, Cody, it's like the music video for Dancing in the Streets.
Oh, God.
Have you seen that where they took the music out and they like Foleyed in like the shoes squeaking and they're just going, ooh.
By the way, I get to be David Bowie.
Oh. I thought you were going to say that MC Scat Cat video. What was that song?
2 steps forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that one, and I want to be MC Scat Cat.
I was going to say which one gets to be the cat.
No, I was more of the fact, we're like an inch away from each other's faces.
Yeah.
It's very, very intimate.
You can cut the tension with a knife currently. All right, so check them out.
Yeah, let's talk about check them out.
Let's talk about literally anything else currently.
And how close our faces have to be.
All right, so this week, the only thing I've really had a chance to check out, so earlier today, it's on our news, but we could probably talk about it now. There was a mini Nintendo Direct all about the new Smash Brothers character, Pyra and Mythra, and they released the character today, almost right after the Direct.
Yeah, I believe it's called a Mr. Sakurai Presents.
It's what he called it, yes. Yeah. But I got a chance to, watch the Direct and then test out the character, kind of play around with the character, see how she plays. The Direct was very charming. You can tell that Mr. Sakurai really enjoys the Xenoblade Saga or Xenoblade Chronicles games. And
I've always liked Sakurai, but these has made him even more endearing.
Oh, it really has. It really, really has. And the Direct was fun. It was cute. He couldn't help but show his love for Pyra. At one point, he was like, "Oh, she is my favorite fighter of the two. Definitely the fighter." As he's like looking at a statue of this anime
kind of
lady.
Leering.
Kind of. Well, he's not really leering because he's a very sweet boy.
Yeah.
Listen, a few Directs ago, he did say Smash Brothers is for good boys and girls.
Well, notice they had to put more clothes on both Pyra and Mythra for Smash Brothers.
I have a theory about that because if you, you know how when you're doing Smash fights, you can pause it and then go into like photo mode, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a feeling if they hadn't put more, slightly more, like if they didn't put pants on them, because they normally wear like skirts or bikini bottoms or whatever.
Yeah.
If they didn't put pants on them, they maybe would have had to have bumped the rating of the game up a little bit.
Yeah,
because,
that's exactly why they covered them up a little bit, is keep that T rating.
Oh yeah, otherwise, people would be heading straight for Australia. They're just getting right to the down under.
What's Xenoblade's rating?
Let
me check.
I don't know. While you're checking that out, I can talk about the gameplay style of the character. I got a chance to mess around with the character a little bit. Really, fun, kind of standard. It has the character switching mechanic that the old Zelda and Sheik did from a few games ago. They eventually split the character apart. The difference is Zelda and Sheik had two completely different move sets when they switched. This one One is a kind of a bruiser, kind of a heavy fighter, much slower but stronger hits, and the other one is very fast, and their specials are a little different, but otherwise their movements and everything are basically the same. And the character's fine. Definitely would not have been my pick for this character. But then again, people who play the Xenoblade Chronicle games, maybe they're clamoring for these characters into the game. I don't really know.
I think it was a clever implementation of a character I don't really give one way or the other for.
Oh, sure.
I don't not like Pyra and Mythra.
I'm completely neutral on the character.
Yeah.
I've seen it go both ways. People have been like, oh my God, this is so great. And others are saying this is a wasted slot. They could have been a million other characters, but I really don't have a dog in this fight. Yeah. It's really just middle of the road. Okay, cool. It's not just a sword fighter. There are other things going on with it, but
yeah, I mean, I'm not super thrilled, but I wouldn't call it a wasted slot either.
Yeah. I did like how he described how he said that the original idea was having the main character of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Rex, and Pyra be like a dual character, kind of like the Ice Climbers character, but he explained they're very detailed, and we barely got the Ice Climbers to work in the way that they are implemented. There's no way we could have gotten this other one working.
I feel like he regrets ever putting the Ice Climbers in the game at all.
Yeah, because they seem like a real nightmare to have to program and try to implement into the game.
And balance.
Oh, balance too,
you
yeah.
lose one, and then that's a whole nother thing, and I feel like if he could take the Ice Climbers out, they did once.
Yeah.
But if they could do that again, if it wasn't everyone is here, they wouldn't be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Otherwise, I played a couple of the they're called like the spirit whatevers. They're just like trials.
Yeah, Spirit Board.
Yeah, I played a couple of those. I haven't gone through the entire thing yet. And again, they're fine. They're fun. Nothing to write home about, but it's interesting. I didn't realize how much. So they also announced a couple of Mii fighters along with it. Didn't pick up these costumes, but Monster Hunter, a couple of different costumes for male and female, which is fine. That's cool. I didn't realize how much I would miss Arthur from Ghouls and Ghosts and Goblins in the game until he was designated as a Mii fighter costume and not a full character.
Yeah, he would have been a good full character.
But on a really good like full character, but unfortunately not going to be the case.
And have that armor flying off, the more damage you take.
That would have been
in his skivvies.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Well, it would almost be like the old Samus, the final smash for Samus. At one point, she would be in full armor, have a huge blast attack for her final smash, and then the armor bits would pop off, and she would be Zero Suit Samus.
Before they made Zero Suit its own character.
Yeah, exactly. And that would really be kind of a fun thing.
Which they really should have never did.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. But no, other than that, that's pretty much all I've been checking out this week. Smash Brothers. Woo!
I love the Mr. Sakurai Presents videos because they sate all my curiosity for this new character to the point where I don't have to buy it.
Yeah, he does go into very, very extreme detail on everything.
Yeah,
having to do with the character.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I'm seriously like, well, now I've seen everything, so I don't feel like I need to buy it because I don't play Smash Brothers enough.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. I'm just curious to see who the last two characters are going to be.
I still say Crash Bandicoot's in there.
I think Crash is going to be in there. I originally thought someone from Mortal Kombat, one of the ninjas from Mortal Kombat, was going to be in there. I now think if they're going to show up, they're going to be relegated to Mii costumes. But then they could do very easy color variants of all of the Mii costumes. I think I think that would be fine. I think that would be fair.
They'd have to work out a deal with Warner Brothers, which they have not done before.
True.
But it's obviously possible. They're wizards over there at negotiating it.
At this point, they've gotten so many different companies on board. At this point, if they were to go to a company to say, hey, I would like your character to be in my Smash Brothers game, they're going to say yes. I do have a theory about Disney saying no, though, because
if somebody was going to say no, it would be Disney.
Because I truly believe Sephiroth was not going to be part of the initial cast. I think they went to Square Enix to try to get Sora into the game, and Square Enix was on board, and Disney said no, because Kingdom Hearts is a shared IP. And when Disney came back and said no, Square Enix probably said, well, you want Sephiroth? You want that big longsword boy?
It's possible. I think Sora would be a big enough one that if he was the last one they announced, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
I'd give him that.
I really wish they would do a retro character, because a lot of the more recent DLC characters have all been maybe not the newest characters, but there's no one from like the classic 8-bit or very, very old style. I want Dig Dug. Okay? I want Dig Dug.
You're making a good argument for Thomas from Kung Fu.
Kung Fu guy would be great. Dig Dug would be okay. Hey, give me Mappy. Give me Mappy the mouse. Or like, I don't know, someone. I really think there should be at least one more classic vintage character like your Pac-Man or your Mr. Game & Watch or someone along those lines, just to say, okay, Dig Dug should be there. It's a classic. Burger Time. Give me Burger Time Chef. He can throw tiny burgers.
Peter Pepper. That's his name.
Peter Pepper? Okay.
You said Kung Fu, and I was like, oh man, I used to play that game a lot, and I can imagine those really awful sound effects from that game would be great. And then like that sound he makes where he's like somebody yelling into like a tin can or something when he dies.
It does sound like that's what the noise is.
Well, you know what? Do you remember that old YouTube video series, Video Game Reunion, where it was a bunch of the classic video game characters coming together for like a convention or something like that? And it was like a mockumentary style kind of thing of, oh, okay, so they've all kind of moved on with their lives and they've come back and they're portrayed as though they're actors. They were actors. Kung Fu Guy is the only one that was portrayed in Video Game Reunion that is not currently in Smash.
There you go. It's a conspiracy.
Of course, the joke was Kung Fu Guy took a lot of blow and died midway
nice.
through the series. But like that was the joke, was that Kung Fu Guy sucks. And, like, no one remembers Kung Fu Guy. Oh, you know what? I did do one other thing. Speaking of Kung Fu Guy and doing karate as a joke, I got to play Dan in Street Fighter V.
Nice.
Just got released. Dan is maybe my favorite Street Fighter character because, you know, in Kung Pao Enter the Fist, where that one guy said that he was trained wrong as a joke. Well, that's Dan. Dan was trained wrong as a joke. He has forever been the joke character. He was made to make fun of the SNK character, Ryo Sakazaki, yeah.
I feel like I pronounced that real nasty.
Something like that, yeah. But he was a dig at their biggest competitor at the time. And over the years...
To be fair, just completely ripped off Capcom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Ryo definitely ripped off Ryu, or however you pronounce it. It's Ryu in Street Fighter, the movie, the game. But then again, he was also the one that couldn't say Shoryuken, so he would say Dragon. Anyway, Dan has over the years morphed from a character who puts out almost no damage, has no range on his fireball, everything about him just sucks, to a character that, under certain circumstances, is incredibly powerful. Like, in terms of raw damage, his punches, kicks, and fireball do more damage than Ken or Ryu. The only problem is there is no range on them, so you have to be like right up in your grill in order to do some of that damage. And if you miss, you are left wide open, like more so than anyone else in the game. But one thing that so Street Fighter V, they have and I'm going long on this, so I'll go quick. So one of the gimmicks for Street Fighter V is each character has their own special kind of gimmick called a V skill. it's different for every character. Like Ryu has a parry, can like light his feet on fire basically and do extra kick power, that sort of thing. Dan was given a taunt, which is instanding for his character. He's the only character in the game that can taunt, but the taunt will actually is a universal linker between all moves, so you can punch, kick, taunt cancel into uppercut, fireball, and like link like these insane combos. It's the only way that he can do any kind of real damage is if you do like a 15 hit combo. Otherwise his damage output is not very good. And he also is the only character in the game that has 2 ultra moves. He has a regular one that does damage, and also he has the ultimate taunt where he does like 10 taunts in a row that does 0 damage. And there is this is the last thing on it. There is a Easter egg where if you let your competitor do the entire taunt on the last frame of the taunt, if your opponent hits you with any kind of move, it's a 1-hit kill. It just ruins your day, but it means you have to sit and watch the entire taunt in order to get it. And Dan can link out of that at any point to do damage. So it's a real kind of timing, wait and see what's going to happen sort of situation. It's great. Dan's fun. He's a fun character, not to be taken seriously in any kind of tournament style play, but whatever.
That'd be a huge flex on somebody if they got really good with Dan to actually like do some kind of standing in a tournament.
Oh, that used to be the ultimate flex in back in Alpha 1, Alpha 2. When the character first appeared, because he was so bad, that would be like the ultimate, I'm going into a tournament and I am so good at this, I'm going to purposely make myself worse and still win the tournament. It's the ultimate. Picking Dan is the ultimate taunt to your real life opponent.
Well, you're talking about like, saying characters' names wrong and stuff. It just made me think of that M. Night Shyamalan Last Airbender movie.
Oh, yeah.
Ong. They kept calling him Ong.
Sokka.
It was so bad. It's so bad all over the place. I was like having like flashbacks sitting over here.
That's what fighting games were like before they had voice acting in it, and everybody didn't know how to pronounce anyone's name. It was like, I'm going to play as Guile.
Guile? Yeah.
And you can pick Rue.
Yeah, did you know that Zangief is actually pronounced Zangief?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Apparently it is actually pronounced Zangief, and they pronounce it that way in Street Fighter V. But it is like one of those popular like nomenclature kind of things where it works either way, but the official Capcom pronunciation is Zangief instead of Zangief. But it's always Zangief. I don't care. That's how it goes.
I mean, the official one does sound more Russian.
It does. Yeah. But no, that's pretty much it. That's all I've been really doing.
I got a quick one. I've been playing Bravely Default 2 that just came out on
Precious
last
Moments,
Friday.
the RPG.
It's really good so far. I probably put about 6 hours into it, so a couple sittings.
I remember the story of Bravely Default and the job system, the first one on 3DS. I remember that one being really good. I just remember hating the art style for the characters. But
I think they look really good in this one, especially the details on their clothing, like the HD details of their clothes, like the stitching and the different looks of the fabrics is really interesting.
Well, I'm sure it looks a lot better on a Switch instead of a 3DS, where there's like a 120p
where
screen.
You got 60 pixels to work with.
Yeah, but how's the game? How is it?
It's very bog standard JRPG, but in a good way.
Okay, good.
Because sometimes you don't need like some sort of overdone battle system.
Sure.
And it has the same Bravely and Default battle system where you can spend your character's turns ahead of time in exchange for not having them later, which is an interest. It makes it different enough to be interesting, but still familiar enough to be nostalgic.
Okay, sure.
Which just sounds like something you could put on the box. The job system seems good. I haven't unlocked very many of the jobs. The last one I got was Monk. Right, I think right now I've got like Vanguard, which is Knight, a Monk, a Black Mage, and a White Mage.
Okay.
So not a lot of room to experiment yet.
Kind of the standard beginner class kind of situation. Yeah. I remember really enjoying Red Mage and Vampire in the original.
I didn't know there was Vampire. That's
It
rad.
was a secret one. It was the Blue Mage.
Ah.
It was the they called it Vampire, but it was you go around and you get all of the animal like the enemy attacks, kind of like the what is that materia in FF7?
Oh.
Copy? No, not copy.
No, that's what Kirby does.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget what it's called. I would always put it on Tifa because that just seemed like the right place for it for some reason.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
It doesn't pull any punches. It's like not easy from the get-go. Which is good. I'm enjoying how it treats you like you've played a JRPG before. Like even some of the first bosses are like, if you didn't have, there's a character that's there's guest characters like old Final Fantasy games where you have your set party and then there's another character that comes in, well, not one character, but another slot for a character to come and go as the story progresses.
Sure, yeah.
And at the beginning you have an old knight guy named Sir Sloan who's just a total BA old man.
Oh, nice.
And he's kind of the in-game tutorial in a way that he heals your characters for no cost and he does big hits. And he kind of carries you along for the first couple hours of the game.
Really interesting.
There's boss battles where there's no way I would have survived if he had not pulled my characters out of, from death several times.
Huh.
So it's not a babby game.
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting that it's not, they don't dumb it down for you. It's just as hard from the beginning. They just give you an over-leveled guy to kind of go along. That's cool. That's really cool.
But yeah, I really like it. I think it's really good. I mean, I don't know how it's going to hold up over the playtime that's probably way too long. Because as I said, I've played it for 6 hours, but this is a JRPG, so it's like...
Oh, that's a drop in the bucket.
I've put a toe in Bravely Default.
That's like 6%.
Yeah.
This is a 100+ hour game.
But I'm really enjoying it. I think it's worth the cost of admission if you like JRPGs.
Oh, cool.
And the story is very, Final Fantasy. There's some crystals and they're acting up. They're acting a fool.
Yeah.
Like the first desert town you go to, it's flooded with water because the water crystals, something's wrong, so better figure that out. Yeah, which is fine. I don't ask for much in a JRPG as long as the gameplay backs up the story, and it seems like it does in this one.
Cool. I wonder what the third act twist is going to be in this one, because I remember there was a pretty big third act twist in the first one.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I wonder if it ties the two games together in some sort of twist.
Oh, that would be kind of neat.
Some sort of Dragon Quest style twist.
Yeah. Josh?
That's pretty much all I got.
Yeah? Josh, do you have anything?
I mean, I haven't really had much because I've pretty much been living at work, and my semi-conscious hours are spent either catching up on housework or zoning out on my couch.
I have 2 questions for you real quick. Have you watched The Owl House?
No.
You should. It's very good. Have you played Valheim yet?
I've dabbled in Valheim, yes.
Okay, because I wanted your opinion, because it looks kind of neat, and it also looks like something you would really enjoy.
Yeah, when I was initially told about it, it was the first, it was like, hey, I'm playing this new survival game. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And he goes, and of course I'm talking to Ellswick, and he's like, it's got Vikings. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, that sounds like you.
But no, I have not watched The Owl House. I really want to, but I don't think it's on any of the Disney stuff I have.
It's on Disney Plus now.
Oh, it's finally on Disney Plus? All right, going on the list.
Watch it, because we'll talk about it, because it's very, very good.
Pirating my mic time. This is my weekend. This is my weekend for the mic. But yeah, Valheim, for the uninitiated, Valheim is a early access survival-based game, kind of like your Rust or your Ark, things like that, where you're basically thrown into a world, kind of like a Minecrafting kind of thing, and where you basically have to collect supplies and survive. But there's actually a story to this one. Yeah, and like I said, it's very much based. It's not even very. It's Vikings. It's straight up Vikings. Odin basically throws you into purgatory to prove yourself for Valhalla. So, but like the art's really interesting. It's it's detailed, but also kind of low rendered at the same time.
Okay.
So it's got kind of a weird look to it, but that's not bad.
That's just called good art direction.
Well, yeah. Like if you look up in the sky, you can see all the branches of Yggdrasil, the world tree. Your kind of guide for the game to such a point, and I think it's until you either you fight the first boss, or you. But he keeps popping up. But it's Hugin, one of Odin's 2 ravens.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
He just pops up and it's like, hey, you've done this. You can do this now, kind of thing. Or you should go do this. It's like the music's really chill until you summon a boss. And then it turns into like a Scandinavian death metal album.
Awesome.
And like I didn't know what to expect from the first boss when you summon it. But it's like a giant death metal deer.
Nice.
It's got like 100 antlers and it shoots lightning at you.
Okay, that sounds pretty great.
Oh yeah, it's a really interesting game. There are sometimes random event things where like your little base or your little house or whatever you build or tried to build or whatever gets raided by monsters. I was running around and it was like this prompt popped up and it said the smell of the swamp becomes, or it becomes stronger or something. I'm like, what does this mean? And I was told, run away right now. And I turn around and just hordes of skeletons are assaulting.
Oh, jeez.
And I ran away through a portal to get away, and then came back through the portal and was killed immediately.
Oh, wow. But no, this game sounds pretty awesome.
It's pretty cool. It's like the hot new thing right now that everyone's like streaming and whatnot. And it's only like $20 on Steam.
That's not bad.
Like I said, I haven't really had a lot of time to really check it out. It was more like I kind of popped in, looked around.
Like a quick look kind of thing.
Yeah. And then I really haven't had a chance to really.
Is this something that you're going to try to stick with a little bit?
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Okay, awesome.
I might buy it then.
Oh, okay.
I was waiting to see what you thought because I knew, you would be into it. And the lack of a story is something that bothers me in survival games, but this sounds like it has one.
Yeah,
and it taking place in purgatory is incredibly good because every survival game I've ever played feels like purgatory.
Yep. All right, with that, let's go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we'll get into some news.
Hey, we're back. That was the Anthem by Good Charlotte.
Everyone's favorite.
Everybody's favorite when they were 15. That's who it's for.
That's who it's for. 15-year-old girls. That's who Good Charlotte's for. But yeah, we actually played that for a very good reason. So let's not waste any time and get right into the news. I picked the loudest one because our headphones are incredibly loud today.
I wasn't expecting it either.
Yeah. Yeah, I was more expecting one of the home favorites.
Well,
but...
for a second, I thought I was going to play Hello Toronto, but I thought that would be just way too loud.
Like for the listeners at home, we got some new equipment in the studio, and it's loud.
It's going to take a little bit of tweaking to get right, but we're making do. Anyway, let's get into the news. We played the Anthem by Good Charlotte because the Anthem is no longer a thing.
Yeah, in honor of a fallen piece of humongous wasted potential.
Yes.
BioWare's service game, BioWare and EA's
Game as a Service
Anthem about Iron Man suits flying around.
Yeah.
Which honestly was conceptually neat, and there were some nuggets of good stuff in there.
And they just botched it from the beginning to end. The implementation of the game as a service was just botched all the way through. But it's been canceled. It's been ended. They're not going to do anything else with it.
Yeah, there was talks for a while that they were going to do a relaunch that saved the whole thing, like they did with No Man's Sky.
Anthem Next or Anthem 2.0. Those were the two names being tossed around. But yeah, no, they just decided, you know what? We're not going to throw any money into this. We're done.
Yeah, no more Diet Destiny.
That's kind of what it is. Yeah.
Big Daddy EA didn't want to spend the money to recover it. But on the plus side, now all of BioWare's games are single player focused again. Yeah. Like seriously, they've said that the next Dragon Age they're working on is single player only. There was originally an online component, But EA said, no, you know what? Don't do that anymore.
Just don't worry about it. We're good. We don't need it. Yeah. No, interesting.
Though, to be fair, with like Fallout 4, that was kind of a stumble in their single-player gaming, too.
Well, that was Bethesda, wasn't it?
Oh, that's right. You said BioWare. I'm a dummy. Strike that from the record.
Well, no, it's staying in because we need it for posterity.
Any stab at Todd we could keep in there.
Yeah, we gotta. Yeah. But Anthem. I never played it, but I remember when the game first launched, and people had such high hopes for it because it was like Iron Man with superpowers and guns, and it was like a 3v3 shooter or something like that.
It was basically Destiny, yeah.
Yeah.
But you could fly around, and it was kind of cool. Like, the mobility was fun in a Spider-Man kind of way.
No, the thing is, didn't they kill off Titanfall to make Anthem?
Maybe?
It was something like they halted production on Titanfall 2, which Titanfall was a really good game.
Titanfall 2 came out.
Or Titanfall 3 then, something like that. That was like the next Titanfall that basically was canceled and ended in order to put out Anthem, which was not good.
And it's a shame because there was nuggets of good stuff in there. They just didn't.
Yeah, they just didn't. Yeah.
They didn't stick the flying mech suit landing.
Yep.
It's very bad for the knees. It's as EA. I mean, if it's not a slam dunk out of the gate, they don't want to touch it.
They dump it quick. Yep.
What's like Respawn made Titanfall, and I like Titanfall, but Anthem kind of fell into the same problem where they hyped it so much and it didn't quite deliver.
Yeah.
Exactly like on the hit. Like Titanfall 1 had like no single player, I think, and I mean, it was fun, and the mobility of the shooting was fun. Plus, giant robots, smashing stuff, and the fact you could get out of your robot and go fight somebody else's robot. But yeah, it's
just EA and their business model. If it's not it's either 100% or 0%. There's no in between.
I feel like BioWare also fell into the same hole that CD Projekt Red did, where they're like, "We're BioWare, we can do anything." We
and
can
then
make
they did
this,
something
yeah,
bad.
And then, it didn't turn out good. Because they were riding high off Mass Effect. All 3 Mass Effects, which were huge gangbusters, and then they got too confident, and they did a stumble.
Yeah. All right, so hey, let's move on to some other stuff. Boy, we have just so much stuff on the list, and none of it really connects to each other in a very... very smooth way. So, hey, you know what's a good loot shooter? The Fortnite.
It sure is it?
I've never played the Fortnite.
I have played it, but I don't remember it. I was just bored by it. But of course, that was so long ago, it's probably not even the same game at
Probably
this point.
not even close. But, the reason we're bringing up Fortnite is because they are in the process of getting crossovers with nearly every single pop culture bit of media that they can get their grubby little hands on. Epic is making deals left and right to try to get all of your favorite everything into the game. Most recently, Ryu and Chun-Li from Street Fighter, as well as a bunch of Marvel characters, DC characters, and Ripley and an alien from the Alien franchise.
Not only that, but there's like a bunch of Star Wars characters in it, or Star Wars skins or whatever you can get for it.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's all like skins. They're not like Ryu doesn't throw a fireball. You can't do 100, the super bird kick or whatever from Chun-Li or anything like that. In fact, it's hilarious the way they are implemented, because it's basically you're wearing a Ryu suit or a Chun-Li suit. So any of the emotes or dance moves or anything like that, they'll still do. And it makes the characters seem really, really out of character. Like Ryu playing the saxophone very well, or doing the Fortnite floss dance. I mean, you can make Ryu floss. But you can make an alien from Alien floss if you really felt the need.
And the fact that Ryu still has his grumpy Ryu face the entire time he's doing it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because it's Fortnite and they don't really emote.
They don't.
But
It's weird. It's weird
Like-
how it's gobbling up every bit of pop culture.
it's Lego.
It's Lego.
It's Lego for battle royale shooters.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it feels right when it's a character that uses gun.
Sure.
So, like, you know, like when they actually brought in John Wick and not just a please don't sue us, you know, parody of John Wick.
You mean Jim Whack?
Yes.
But yeah, like when they brought in like the Mandalorian and various other Star Wars characters, they use guns. I mean, it fits with them.
Yeah.
But when you have like Kratos from God of War and you know, like you said, Ryu and Chun-Li, it's hollow.
It is.
It's hollow and it's soulless. It's not like a Smash Brothers.
It is absolutely. It is the anti-Smash Brothers. Sakurai is, you know, you could tell that Sakurai and his team put a lot of time and care and effort into making as faithful an interpretation of the character, the guest character, as possible when they introduce things into Smash Brothers. And in Fortnite, it is just like, let's just slap something together and that's it.
Does the licensor approve this model? Yes? Then we're good to go. Put it on the server.
Yeah, the only positive I will give to Fortnite with all of their pop culture references, much like Disney 2.0, the little Toys to Life game.
Oh, I loved those.
Those are really good, but Fortnite and that game, they both had a very unified art style. So they would tweak so everything looks like it matches
the rest of the aesthetic
proportion wise. So when you have in Disney 2.0, you could have a Jack Sparrow next to a Mickey and they look like they make sense next to each other. And in this game, you have weird tomato-headed Fortnite man and Ryu and Chun-Li, and they proportion-wise, they look like they fit next to each other. And the OCD uniformity side of my brain, that is nice. That makes nice in my brain.
Yeah. About the only thing I'd really say that kind of was a nice nod or whatever that Fortnite did with this latest, whatever you want to call it, was while you're playing the game or whatever and you're on the map, you know, there's like a little rift that can open up. And they do this with all the little guest character things they throw in. This rift opens up when you're within a certain distance of it and you can look through it. And it was Ryu's stage.
Oh, it was Suzaku Castle.
Yes.
Nice.
And it was playing Guile's theme.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, why would
I think it was Guile's theme. I only
why would
watched
they
a
do
video
that?
of it.
Why would they do that? That sucks, actually.
It's because Guile's theme is the better song.
Guile's theme is the better song, but I would argue Ryu's theme is also very recognizable, and especially it goes with Suzaku Castle. Like, okay, yeah, that's...
Like I said, I'd have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure it's Guile's theme.
That sucks. That's just a bummer. Okay, so Fortnite is a Battle Royale style game, and you know what else is getting a Battle Royale style game? Final Fantasy VII?
Hey, why not? Everyone else has tried to do it.
Yeah, so about a week or so ago, Sony had their State of Play. It's basically their Nintendo Direct knockoff that is not as successful, endearing or successful. It kind of lacks the spirit and the heart of a Nintendo Direct. As sterile as a Nintendo Direct typically is, Sony is that much more sterile. Anyway, they ended their presentation with some Final Fantasy VII Remake news, and then immediately following that, on their Twitter account, they announced like 2 more games, like right after the other. So Final Fantasy VII is a huge game. It's a huge franchise. So let's take a few minutes and talk about those 3 things that were announced.
So the DLC was for PlayStation 5?
Yes, there's a special thing with that, but let's describe what it is first. It's called Final Fantasy Remake Intergrade.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and it is it's a side mission with one of the optional characters from the original Final Fantasy VII game, Yuffie.
The Ninja Thief.
The Ninja Thief, yes. And it looks like it is basically tying in the side game Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus into the timeline. That's basically what's happening.
Which was a third-person shooter on the PlayStation 2 where you played as the optional character Vincent.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yuffie used to be my favorite Final Fantasy VII character until I grew to be a man of culture and decided that Tifa was the best
is best girl. Yes. No, agreed. But no, this side mission looks really cool. It looks interesting that you get to play as someone other than Cloud for a little while. During that extended trailer, and they showed a lot of like story bits and pieces in there, and it looks like Yuffie is getting a non-controllable side character for all of her missions. A new character named I think it's like Solemn or something like that. Something close to like that. And I'll tell you, when I was watching the direct or their state of play or whatever, the second I saw that guy pop on screen and I saw that he was named and he looked like someone more than just a background character, I said, oh, look, it's a walking grave. Because guess who's not in any part of the actual game of Final Fantasy VII? It's this character that they're taking an awful long time explaining. He doesn't show up anywhere else. Something's going to happen to him during his thing, because here's the thing, Yuffie acts very different in this than how she acts when you meet her in the original Final Fantasy VII, and you meet her much later in the game. So something has to happen to make her personality shift pretty dramatically, and I'm guessing it is probably something's going to happen to her best friend, her best friend from deep underground. It's like, hey, this guy was created to die.
He has a red shirt. Why is he wearing that?
He is absolutely a red shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, she's very much in line with how she is in Crisis Core, I think.
Oh, Crisis Core? Okay.
Where she's a lot younger in that one, but she's also a lot peppier.
You know what? Did I say Dirge of Cerberus? I might have meant Crisis Core. One of the two. Which
Crisis Core is the Zack game.
Crisis Core is these games.
Zack and Gact.
Oh, Soldier G.
And Nickelodeon Gact.
Okay, listen.
Nickelodeon Gact.
Nickelodeon Gact. I like it. When we get to that point in Final Fantasy VII Remake, are we going to get Gact?
I don't remember who that character was in Crisis Core.
Should we explain who Gact is?
He's a Japanese pop star / actor
who had very bad opinions about women
/ fashioned man.
Yeah, he's an awful lot of things, and he was directly modeled and voiced and like placed into the Final Fantasy universe when at the height of his popularity. Again, like I said, had some very not great things to say about women, and Gact is pretty much not a thing anymore due to that. But is like his character going to show up for half a second and then an explosion's going to go off and he's going to be like, oh no, my face, it's half burnt up and it made my voice box sound totally different, but it's totally me. It's totally me, Soldier G. Don't worry about it.
Like, Crisis Core was a prequel.
Yeah.
I think Dirge of Cerberus is a bridge between 7 and Advent Children. I don't remember.
We're getting way too in the weeds on this one. I'm over here looking at Final Fantasy Wikipedia trying to figure this one out.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It is a tough one.
It could be worse. It could be Kingdom Hearts.
That's that's very true. Well, speaking of getting into the weeds on things, one of the other games that was introduced, that was announced, this one was on their Twitter account, is something called Final Fantasy VII.
First Soldier?
Well, that's the battle royale.
Oh, okay.
We can actually talk about the battle royale.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hijack
no, it's cool. We can talk about the battle royale. So it is a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, and it's a battle royale game where you're running around shooting other players in a arena style shooter.
Yeah.
But also you have magic and summons and stuff like that. And it looks like it is actually going to have a light amount of story mode, and it is going to tie directly into Final Fantasy VII Remake. So you actually have to play it in order to get the complete story, I guess.
I mean, that's kind of how the Kingdom Hearts games were. You know, not to beat that dead horse again.
That's true. Yeah, drop distance and fragmentary passage of whatever.
This is my edgy album name.
Yeah, right. but no, I mean, I don't do battle royales or first-person shooters, so I'm probably not going to do this one. This is also mobile only as of right now. I guarantee it's going to get some kind of PC release or a
PlayStation
release. But you know what? Mobile actually isn't as bad because you can load up. There are phone and mobile OS emulators. BlueStacks is a big one. So if you want to play this on your PC with a controller, you absolutely can.
I mean, there's plenty of games you can play on your phone with the controller anyway.
Oh, sure.
And there are a handful of battle royale and hero shooters out there on mobile that are also cross-play with other platforms.
Yeah. So this is, but like I'm saying, I said, you can hook it up to your computer screen and just play it like a normal game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also the other one, the one I was about ready to talk about was Final Fantasy VII. Is it Beyond Crisis or After Crisis or something like that? Something along those lines. Cody is looking up the name, but it is basically a faithful 1-to-1 remake of all of the original Final Fantasy games in a unified art style.
Final Fantasy VII. Said all the Final Fantasies. That would be a wild endeavor.
That would be pretty wild. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII, which is still a pretty wild endeavor because there are like 7 or 8 games in this series, including they're going to do a playable version of Advent Children, which up until now is just a movie.
It's Final Fantasy Ever Crisis.
Ever Crisis. God, these names. Yeah. I tell you,
there was a couple of Final Fantasy VII mobile games that
never made it here.
Yeah, that were back on flip phones that were part of the Final Fantasy VII story.
And that was Before Crisis was one of them, I think.
Yep, Before Crisis was one of them, and those are going to be melded into this
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is getting a unified art style, a unified gameplay style, and it's going to be released episodically. So, right now it is only mobile as well, although I have a feeling once an entire game is complete in the series, they're going to probably put it out on like Switch and PS4.
It looks like Switch bait.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, that's great. You know what? I've been looking for an excuse to play Final Fantasy VII again, and I don't own a PlayStation, so this is it. This is going to be it.
I keep forgetting that Final Fantasy VII Remake's the free game for PlayStation Plus members this month.
Yes, but here's the thing. So we mentioned that this DLC is going to be for PS5 only. It is free for people who have the game on PS4. You get a free upgrade to PS5 as well as the DLC. But if you have the free game version of it, you don't get the DLC and the upgrade. You have to pay $30.
I mean,
for the upgrade.
That's still cheaper than buying a $60 game.
That's very true. And you can only play this DLC on PlayStation 5. So this is how they are forcing players to upgrade to the next generation, because Remake 2 is absolutely going to be next gen.
PS5 only.
It's going to be next gen only. Well, by the time they're done making it, it could be PS6 only. It takes them forever. I mean, they're beautiful games, don't get me wrong, but it takes them forever.
Yeah, they'll be on the verge of PlayStation 6 by the time this comes out, like they were with the remake itself.
Yeah.
It's the verge of PlayStation 5 when it finally came out.
And I have a theory this game is going to go three games, like Remake 1, 2, and 3, because the original game was 3 discs, and that kind of fits, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the first one did not end where the first disc of Final Fantasy does.
True. But also there's a lot that's just open space in discs 2 and 3, I guess.
I think a trilogy makes the most sense.
Yeah. So they could be pushing PS7 by the time the entirety of Final Fantasy VII Remake is complete.
They'll be doing Kickstarters like Shenmue.
Oh God.
Don't bring that bad juju in here.
Yeah. All right. So hey, we have time for one more thing. We've been talking a lot about games, so let's pick a non-game. There's not a whole lot of non-game news.
Let's do Cruella real quick.
Yeah, let's talk about the trailer for Cruella, which is the most recent in Disney's long line of taking the villain from one of their classic cartoon movies and making them the pseudo anti-hero of their own story, like Maleficent.
Well, Maleficent's the only other movie they've done this with.
Oh, I guess that's true.
They did do 2 of them though.
Yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, Cruella. It's a trailer. It sure is a movie. It stars Emma Stone, and
she looks like it. She acts like fashion show / terrorist / bank robber Harley Quinn. She's black and white Harley Quinn.
she's Harley Quinn. Yeah, it's Disney's
like there's
Harley
like a
Quinn.
face she makes as she's like driving away in her car on a motorcycle or something, and it straight up looked like something out of like Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm not. I'm sure the movie will be fine, but I'm not sure how much of a story you can get out of. Hey, here's the hidden backstory of the angry woman who wanted to murder a bunch of dogs.
Yeah, the puppy skinning woman.
Like, at the end of the day, she does want to murder dogs to make a coat. So I don't know how much you can redeem that character. I'm not saying that it won't be an interesting movie. Emma Stone is a fantastic actress, and it looks stylish enough. It looks neat, but she did want to kill a whole bunch of dogs.
Disney just saw how popular Harley Quinn is, and we're going through their archives going, do we have anything remotely similar to Harley Quinn?
Yeah, that's kind of it. I guess it would be either that or the villainess from The Rescuers.
Yeah, who just wanted a big pirate diamond
Yeah,
and made a little girl go into a well, almost drown for it.
yeah.
I mean, what's next? Are we going to get like an origin story of Madam Mim? The witch from Sword in the Stone.
Oh, yeah.
She wasn't even really a villain. She was more like just like a weird swamp rival to Merlin.
Yeah.
If anybody's the villain in that movie, I think it's Merlin.
Well,
Putting poor Arthur or Wart through all that.
that's true. Like, what other... I guess they could do like an Ursula movie. I would want to watch
I'm surprised they haven't.
I'd want to watch an Ursula movie.
Yeah,
That'd be okay.
I'd go to an Ursula movie.
Yeah. I'd be all right with that.
If Divine was still alive, if they could do a Divine Ursula movie.
Oh, man. That would be... that would be interesting.
Directed by John Waters.
Yeah, I could see it.
I mean,
We could always get John Travolta.
like,
That's an inside joke for a very specific amount of people who listen to this.
And then she eats fish poop at the end.
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
I don't know. It's just like,
Pink flamingos.
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like they do two things. They either make a carbon copy just air quote this, live action film of a movie they've already done, 20 years ago or longer.
Sure.
Or they take a character and just build a whole new thing.
Well, at least in this particular case, they're making something different.
Yeah, and, I'm going to be completely honest. I haven't watched either one of the Maleficent movies.
I haven't either. I have almost no interest.
Same. Although I would have, I like the aesthetic of the Maleficent movies, but I have not heard good things.
I'm not the biggest fan of Angelina Jolie, and it's nothing against her personally. I'm not really drawn to her acting style. It's never seen the appeal, honestly, but I don't know.
Well, now she's never doing this show.
Yep, I've ruined our chances of an interview, I guess.
Hey, remember when she was Lara Croft the Tomb Raider?
How could I forget? Please let me forget. But yeah, I mean, I made this joke off air, but the only thing that would make this movie like super awesome is if the post-credit sequence is Maleficent shows up and says, "Hi, Cruella, let me tell you about the Kingdom Hearts."
Oh yeah, because it wasn't Maleficent like the kind of like the ringleader of all the Disney villains.
She is like the main secondary villain. If you take out like all of the
heartless stuff.
Well, like all of the Final Fantasy-esque weird Nomura style,
The Organization 13 and whatever.
and the real Organization 13, which are two separate things, half of which are made up of the same guy who time traveled into other bodies.
We've given Nomura too much real estate in this episode.
Yeah, this is Nomura cast, apparently.
Oh man, I just had a thought.
Yeah.
So what if Cruella ends up being really popular, and then they just do like a prequel for Captain Hook?
Didn't they?
Would they have to call him Captain Hand?
I think they did do a prequel for Hook. Although I don't think it was Disney, but there was like...
Would they have to call him Captain Hand?
Yeah, that's it. Yes, that's a good joke. Good job, Cody.
Because he wouldn't have the hook yet.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Oh, what if they did a movie where it was the tragic backstory of the whale from...
The whale from Pinocchio?
Yes. Monstro.
You can see the dramatic title card reveal now that just says Monstro.
And you know how the old Batman like the like sound effect? Yeah. That's the sound of like the water shooting out of the spout at the top. All right, well, hey, we have actually hit time, so let's go ahead and wrap things up. You have been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at Nerd Overload Now.
You can send us an email at staff@nerdoverload.com. I'm becoming the Saturday Night Live guy.
Musical guest.
Good Charlotte.
You can give us a call on the Nerd Overload hotline. The number's 586-372-8020. Leave a message and we might play it on the show. We've actually had a couple calls this week where people didn't leave messages.
Oh, really?
Leave a message.
Yeah, there's only 2 steps to it. You call the number and then you leave the message.
I thought about answering it when it was ringing, but then I didn't. I was just like, hello, Nerd Overload.
That would have been great. You can find all of our back episodes on various podcast apps such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and more. And finally, I'd like to thank David Pencil for the use of our intro and outro. You can find more of his stuff over at davidpencil.com. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
Pizza out.